The chamber of the Galactic Council glittered like a constellation in motion, stars of polished metal, hovering delegates from 1,000 worlds, and the deep hum of power that made the air vibrate. At the center, beneath the spiraling lights of the Senate sphere, stood a single human representative, Ambassador Leora Cade of Earth. She was small compared to the towering figures of scaled, winged, or crystalline species that surrounded her, but her gaze did not falter. The translator sphere hovering above her head flickered to life. "Honorable Council," she began, "our world faces extinction. The Zorith Dominion's fleet has breached our defense perimeter. They burn our colonies and enslave our people. We ask no, we beg for assistance." A murmur rippled through the chamber. From the upper dais, High Chancellor Threx of the Valcor clicked his mandibles, his voice smooth and disdainful. "The humans beg again. Oh quaint. You spread like a plague across the void, and now cry when the void bites back." Laughter followed, cruel, echoing, a sound like wind through broken glass. Leora's throat tightened, but she stood firm. "You mock us, but we believed in this council's promise of unity, of peace." Another delegate, a gelatinous being from the Glorn Confederation, oozed disdain. "Peace is earned, little mammal, not requested through whimpering." More laughter. She bowed her head briefly, hiding the fire rising behind her calm expression. Then, through clenched teeth, she whispered, "If no one will help, humanity will stand alone." The chamber quieted, if only for a heartbeat. Then came the scoffs, the derisive clicks, the booming alien chuckles. "Then you will die alone," said Threx. And with that, Earth's plea was denied. Part 2. The Silence of Earth. The day the message reached Earth, the skies were already dark. Not from clouds but from ships. The Zorith fleet had arrived. Cities were glassed, colonies on Mars went silent, and the orbital stations flickered out one by one. The human race, scattered across the Sol system, was cornered. In a bunker beneath the ruins of Geneva, Leora watched the reports come in. President Han, Admiral Reyes, and a handful of surviving commanders gathered around her. They refused. They spat. The council refused to help. "They laughed," Leora said flatly. "They think we're finished." Han slammed his fist against the table. "Then they've forgotten who we are." A silence fell. Humanity had seen extinction before. On the battlefields of Earth, in the fires of history. Every time they rebuilt. They adapted. They endured. Reyes leaned forward. "We still have the Vanguard project." The room turned toward her. "The prototype?" Leora asked. Reyes nodded. 3 dreadnoughts. Built in secret beyond Neptune's orbit. Shielded with stealth plating from the old Titan colonies. "They're not finished, but they can fly." President Han smiled grimly. "Then let's remind the galaxy what humans do when cornered." Part 3. The Spark. The Zorith thought humanity had been broken. Their fleets patrolled the shattered remains of Earth's defense grid. They broadcast their victory across the stars. But deep beyond the system's edge, humanity moved in silence. The Vanguard, Odyssey, and Resolute came online. They were not graceful ships. They were brutal, angular, armored engines burning blue-white fury. Inside them, crews of volunteers readied for war. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, her hands clasped behind her back. "Status report." "All systems green," her XO replied. "Weapons charged. Warp drives online. Then we go hunting." The first strike came at Europa, where a Zorith supply convoy idled. The humans hit like ghosts, dropping out of warp inside the convoy formation. Within seconds, railguns and plasma torpedoes tore through alien hulls. The Zorth screamed in confusion, their sensors unable to detect the human ships until it was too late. When it ended, 40 enemy vessels drifted dead, and humanity's first victory was broadcast on every open frequency. The galaxy heard it. Part 4. The Roar of Humanity. The Council watched in disbelief. "What are they doing?" hissed Chancellor Threx as holographic feeds showed the burning remains of Zorth fleets. They were supposed to be extinct. Ambassador Leora, who had been forced to remain on the Council station as an observer, said nothing. But inside she smiled. Over the following weeks, humanity struck again and again. They didn't fight like the old empires, with ceremony and rules. They fought dirty. They fought smart. They hijacked Zorth communication satellites and rerouted entire fleets into black holes. They seeded asteroids with nuclear mines. They turned the ruins of Mars into a trap that wiped out an invasion force 3 times their size. The galaxy began whispering a new word for humanity. Revenant. The species that would not die. Part 5. The Turning Point. At the edge of the Zorth Dominion, the humans made their boldest move yet. The Vanguard fleet, now reinforced with scavenged alien tech and captured ships, warped straight into the Dominion's capital system. The enemy's planetary defenses ignited instantly, filling space with fire. Reyes stood unflinching on the bridge. "Deploy the storm." From the belly of the Vanguard, hundreds of drones swarmed out, each one carrying a miniature fusion core. They raced toward the planet's orbiting fortress rings and detonated in synchronized pulses, frying every defense system in range. Then came the assault. Human marines in drop pods screamed through the atmosphere, landing amidst alien cities. They didn't seek conquest, they sought liberation. The Zorth had enslaved dozens of species, and now, those same captives rose beside their human liberators. Within days the Dominion fell. Reyes opened a comms channel to the Council. Her voice was cold. "The war you ignored is over. Humanity won it alone." Part 6. The Reckoning. The Council convened in emergency session. This time there was no laughter. The chamber was silent as the human hologram appeared. Admiral Reyes herself, her uniform scorched, her face marked by battle. "Council members," she began, "Earth no longer asks for aid. We offer something else, an alliance. But not of words, of will." Threx shifted uneasily. "You come to threaten us." Reyes tilted her head. "No. We come to remind you. You called us weak. Yet when the stars turned against us we stood alone. When your empires watched in comfort, we fought in the ashes alone. And when your silence doomed billions, we still found a way to rise." Her gaze swept across the chamber. "You forgot who we are. But now the galaxy knows." For a long moment no one spoke. Then, from the far end of the chamber, a crystalline delegate rose. "The humans have earned their place." One by one, other voices joined in. Hesitant at first, then firm. The Council voted unanimously to admit Earth as a founding member of a new charter, the Concord of Free Worlds. The vote passed. Part 7. The Legacy. Years passed. The scars of the war healed, though the galaxy never forgot. Children across the stars studied the Vanguard Rebellion, as it came to be called. And at the heart of the rebuilt Earth stood a monument, a towering column of black steel engraved with the names of those who fell. Leora Cade stood before it, now old, her silver hair glinting in the morning light. "Ambassador," a young cadet said beside her, "is it true the Council laughed when you first spoke?" She smiled softly. "Yes. They laughed because they didn't understand us. The cadet frowned. And now, she said, looking toward the stars, they remember that humanity's greatest weapon was never its fleets or its technology. He looked up at her, puzzled. Then what was it? Leora turned to him, her eyes fierce despite the years. Our refusal to surrender. She walked away, her reflection glimmering against the polished metal, a small figure beneath the vast sky. Above, the stars burned brighter than ever. And somewhere, deep within the void, the descendants of those who once mocked humanity now fought beside them, under a single banner forged from defiance and hope. Because when the galaxy laughed at Earth's weakness, humanity answered with strength, and the universe would never forget who we are.